It's time for a new video. It's time for a new life. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et voilà.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for coming online and check us out again. One interview after the other. How amazing is that? So I'm gonna be short on mods today, but I think it's gonna be all right. I promise we're not gonna do a 3 hours interview like yesterday, but we're doing it as short as possible. And Joy's here. Thank you, Jojo. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Amy. Thank you for being here. So first, housekeeping for any new members or subscribers, please, my chat is always very loving and respectful, and we all respect everyone else's opinions. Thank you very much. Georgia will look after you guys, so be nice to her. She's always great. And if you haven't checked her channel, check her channel. Thank you. As you always know, as you also know, I also promote every time I go live or upload a video, I promote another channel. And therefore, today, I think she deserves it. It's my good friend Fluffle Squirrel UK. I'm promoting her today. So if you love art and you like to hear some laughter while they talk about Scientology issues, then please go over to her channel and subscribe and watch her lives. They're mainly on Wednesday and Fridays. So that is at Fluffle Squirrel UK. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. And therefore, we're going to start, and I'll bring on stage my new guest, and that is our friend, Dodge. Hi, Dodge. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Dodge is in San Francisco, and look at that beautiful weather. Actually, it was beautiful here in Scotland today as well.
Very nice day. Yeah, never gets too hot here, so the dog is happy as well, which is good.
Yeah, dogs don't like heat today.
No, especially mine with all the fur. Not a fan. So nice to be out of LA.
I believe you. It must be much. I've never been to LA, so I don't know how it is, but I can see it from when they were protesting. They were all
yeah, you get a lot of it, I'm sure.
So how I was going to start is actually, I'm trying not to watch too much the chat, but I have no one on the backstage of Streamyard today. So
that's okay.
Once in a while, have a look and start some comments. So anyone has a comment or a question, please put it in capital letters at the beginning. It will make my life a bit easier to start. And thank you very much. So, Dodge, we don't actually know very much about you, do we? We know you're a journalist, and that's about it, really. I heard other things, but I'm not going to say them because I want to ask you, and you telling us, okay? So, where is Dutch from? And actually, is Dutch your name, or is that an abbreviation or a nickname?
A lot of people think it's a made-up name, but no, or a nickname. No, it's my legal name.
Okay.
My legal name is Dodge Prentice Landisman. And then my dad wanted to name me Joe Bob, and luckily, which would have been a terrible name, and luckily my mom refused. She's like, that's a terrible name. And so my dad's first car was I think he got it in 63, was a 1960 Dodge Dart. So it's actually technically named after his first car. So my dad's from St. Louis, and my mom is from around here. She's from Palo Alto, which is kind of a snooty part of the Bay Area. Has gotten even snootier since she's left. But so none of my parents are from. God, there's a big gust of wind. Hopefully, you can still hear me. None of my parents are from the East Coast, but they moved in the to New York City in the mid 70s, kind of when it was at its most famously dangerous. do work on Broadway theater. So they were Broadway. My mom was a set designer as well as a producer. Then my dad was a Broadway theater producer that eventually owned a company that owned theaters on Broadway. So born and raised in Manhattan for a very long time, and went to college locally, but always traveled and kind of left post college, I would say.
Okay. Wow. I thought that Dodge was a car. I mean, I don't know all the American car.
Yeah, I don't know
brands.
how mass produced it is in Europe. I know some American cars are, but I don't think the Dodge is. But Dodge is a well-known car out in the US for sure.
I think in Europe, if you would find a Dodge, it's perhaps because an American lives in Europe and broke
Yeah.
it over, you know.
Interesting. Got it
But-
imported. Yeah.
I wouldn't actually know how a Dodge looks like, to be honest with you. But that's why I wanted to ask you, you know. But actually, I like the name.
Thank you. It's
And
unique.
it suits you as well. But not that you look like a car, okay?
No, but it's unusual, and I feel like if you have such a weird name, you kind of have to be very different than most people. So I've always been a kind of a quirky, eccentric character, and I think that's probably because of the basis of my name that I was born with. You know, you kind of have to live up to it in a lot of ways.
And we can see it as well. I like the way you dress, you know, vintage
you.
stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I think
That's very sweet. Thank
people
you.
these days lose the way how to dress up nicely. When you see fashion for women, it's horrendous these days.
Yeah.
And look how women were dressing up in the 50s and 60s. You could see their
Yeah.
forms and you know, still
more flattering.
Hepburn.
Well, yeah, same with men. I mean, you go out now I always pay attention to how people dress, and it's even worse. It's like, you know, you go on a Saturday night and women are somewhat dressed up, and they might look nice with the dress, and then they're with their boyfriends, and the guy has, you know, a white t-shirt and gym pants. And I'm thinking, come on, like you're going to a nice at least like put on a freaking pair of pants. That's like not a step away from pajamas. You're not always men these days always look like they're going to the gym every moment of their life. And you know, I always say, people say I dress formally. I say I don't dress formally. I dress casual, as in how they casually dressed in 1955.
Yeah.
You know, I don't wear a full suit and tie all the time. But yeah, so I appreciate you recognizing. It's just and then I go to the airport and, you know, half the people are in pajamas.
They want to travel comfortably.
Yes, no, I get that. Although nicer clothes are comfortable too, you know. But that's the perception. So yeah, thank you. I try to put a little splash in my style if I can.
No, I had to say it because I really like your style.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I know not for a fact, but because once in a while I watch your lives, but you still are a journalist per se, but you did actually work for a television network, didn't you? Was it in Arizona or? I'm trying to I remember well. You know, I'm an old woman, and sometimes I wonder if my
no, you're not old.
brain is not mushy peas. So it was Arizona.
Yes, yeah, and I can understand the confusion because I hopped around. So I was at 4 different news stations, TV news stations. So I was all over. It's always an interesting thing. It's like, am I a journalist? Am I not? I don't beat myself up over that term, or do I qualify for the term? It was interesting. There's someone everybody hates me on Reddit, but there's one comment on Reddit on the SBTV Unvarnished thing, and one person at least said, well, you know, I don't know if he's a journalist. He might be more of a reporter. That might be accurate, because that person's, their description of a journalist is somebody who does deep research, calls people for comment, follows up, spends 6 hours boring between every little document. That's not me. That's kind of Henry. Henry's a journalist, an example. But then the question is, you know, it's like, say una pipa, right? Or what is a pipe? You know, what is art? So you can't really, it's one of those words that you define it in the way that you want to define it, but it's like defining art. You know, is art only a painting, or is art a beautiful piece of music? It's subjective. And then even in TV news, I wasn't even technically a journalist because I was an anchor. You know, so I was at TV. I was a journalist in the first 3, because then I would actually go get stories, interview people. Well, as more of a reporter, but whatever. Anyway, so I've had some experience in journalism for sure, and I suppose I'm a journalist in some capacity in local TV news, and then I try to continue similar elements of that work these days. So whether I'm a journalist or in journalism, whatever, but yeah, that's about right.
So is it true your kind of work you did in those networks that you came across Scientology?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I was out in Yuma, which is a really small city. It had about 100,000 people. So it wasn't like a prestigious news station to get into. It's kind of for starters, I would say. A starter, they would call it a starter TV news market. And Yuma had nothing to do with anything with Scientology. But the one thing that I did is that we choose national stories to read on air. And so we'll choose from like CNN. So something will happen, and we could we're usually supposed to, we don't have to. We could use the script that CNN gives us along with their video, and just parrot that script. And usually that's what I would do. If there was a government shutdown or something, you just read the script, or a vote for speaker, whatever it might be. But I felt there was something missing with the script that noted the death of Lisa Marie Presley that CNN gave on the server, I suppose, that we download and take and use on our teleprompter. And they didn't mention that. I thought it was pretty big news that she was going to testify against Danny Masterson. And that should have been mentioned. It was kind of a ballsy thing she did. And she was a Scientologist for over 2 decades. She was getting ready to pretty much depart from it. But she knew the personal blowback and the career blowback that she would get simply for testifying that 20 years ago, her best friend, who was a victim of Danny Masterson, called her, told her about the assault, and Lisa Marie Presley, due to the pressure from Scientology, called her best friend 20 years ago and told her to stand down and not call the police. And Lisa Marie Presley wanted to right her wrong and also strengthen the testimony of somebody who was her best friend 20 years ago. And I just thought that was cool. So I essentially added that. And then, all hell broke loose, and Corinne Powell, the main spokesman, called me, asked me to take it down. She assumed I didn't know anything about Scientology. She said, all this, you mentioned that that Lisa Marie Presley could have gotten fair game. I don't know where this fair game thing you got from. We don't do that. Of course, they did that to me. And I kind of played dumb and indicated, I didn't say I would take it down, but indicated that I would, that I didn't respond to her. And then she got so mad that she got the lawyers, probably, I'm sure Ken Moxon was involved, and they threatened to sue me unless I got fired. And I tried to meet them halfway. I said, listen, if you want me to sign a non-disclosure agreement, I'll never talk about Scientology again. I could be suspended without pay for 2 weeks. But no, they're like, nope, he has to be fired. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, you made an enemy. Congratulations, asshole. And here we are.
But that is very strange, because news are meant here to tell us what's going on truthfully, right?
Right.
But then in your case, I'm pretty sure Scientology was behind it, right?
Well, positive. I mean, that's the people who fired me said the lawyers of Scientology said I need to be fired or they would sue them. So it was certainly.
They didn't want to be sued.
Yeah, they don't want to be sued, so they're fearful of that. And they, and the head of there was the news director who was my direct boss, and there was a general manager who was above that. Both of them wanted to keep me, but they were part of a corporate conglomerate, and the people at corporate wanted to can me. So they were like, the two of them wanted to actually, because I'm not furious at them, more so at the corporate bigwigs behind the scenes. That, and they wouldn't even have a conversation. I kept saying, well, can I at least have some conversation with them? But no, they wouldn't even, give me that right. So that's how it all kind of stemmed. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm not upset any of it happened, because I always kind of felt like a fraud doing this mainstream TV news, because as people either on the left or the right say, it's a lot of parody corporate talking points and talking points from your advertisers. So you can make sure that what you say allows them to continue to sell what they feel like they need to sell. And the fascinating thing is, even on the most local level, where it's the most detached from all that, you still get it. You still feel it, right? And you read all that BS that either Fox News, because we were oddly enough, we were Fox and then we were NBC, and you get both of them get your information from CNN. But either, the BS that Fox News gives or NBC, you see how biased and slanted it is on both sides. And so I was always wary of that. But at least with local news, with local stories, you're actually going out and getting the local story and telling the truth to some extent, although they do hate it when you try to challenge any elected official because they're so protective of continuing to get the interview with the elected official. So that's the local part. That's the corrupt part of the local part too. So there isn't much you can do, and it's an industry that's dying, and there are staff cuts everywhere. So not much of a future in it anyway.
Well, I would say that since people have now mobile phones, or excuse me, cell phones with cameras,
right,
where you can actually turn into a reporter / journalist now,
sure.
And call yourself independent.
Sure, you don't need a formal structure.
I think lots of people actually watch now more YouTube than
much more.
The news.
I know the numbers much more. Yeah.
Channels. I haven't watched national channels since the pandemic started 5 years ago. And if I need news, I get some notification on my cell phone, or I watch it on YouTube. I mean, I watch most of my stuff I find on YouTube, Amazon, Netflix, things like that. And I'm interested not only about Scientology, but about trials, true crimes, and things like that. And I have it all here. I don't need normal television channels,
Right.
And I think a lot of people are like that as well now.
I mean, the numbers are interesting. That for watching TV news, whether it be local or national, year by year since like 2010, it's gone down by about 4% every year. So that's in 14 years, whatever 4 times 14 is, it's gone down that much. And then we'd get the numbers of people who would watch us. And like the 80s, if you did TV news in Yuma, Arizona, in the 80s, you'd probably have 30,000 people watching. If the 100,000 people lived there, you probably have 30,000 people watching, maybe 20. Now we have when I was there recently, we'd have 4,000 to 5,000 people watching a night. 4,000 to 5,000 people. Not only we had Yuma, but we covered we were on the border of California and Arizona, so we also covered the Imperial Valley area cities, Eastern California, of Calexico and El Centro. Collectively, Calexico and El Centro probably has 80,000, 70,000 people. So that's, 160,000 people. 5,000 out of that would actually watch us. So once in a while I'd get recognized, but very, very rarely. Now, the other disappointing thing too, I thought it would be a cool kind of sexy career, but nobody cares. It's not prestigious.
I think people recognize you more now.
It's I've never been recognized in person, no, but certainly more people know who I am with the YouTube stuff. I would say yes.
Yes, I think so too. Even though I don't know. So,
just more spread out.
So how did you actually end up going to LA for the first time? I mean, when I say first time, for me, I started watching beginning of last year. So I noticed you last year for the first time.
Yeah. The first time was, I went out, interesting enough, for Aaron Smith Levin, who a lot of people have issues with, understandably. And my mom, too, is interesting. One of the reasons I did a video about him is I was telling my mom, like, I don't know if I should talk about this guy. She's been so supportive. And then my mom was like, well, Aaron had you pay to fly into LA, right? So I would fly in from New York or Florida. I had a new job. So it was right before I started the job. So I'd fly in, cover for him. I'd pay for my own hotel. I'd pay for my own airfare. I'd pay for any public transportation. Meanwhile, we'd get 60,000 views. And I told my mom what the numbers are. And 60,000 views means he's making 600. My mom was like, well, you think he could give you like 200 or 300 from it? Because like you went out there and gave him the information. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. actually, but that's how I started going out to LA. Was Aaron Smith Levin would ask me to cover hearings. It was kind of the end hearings after the verdict in the Danny Masterson case. So that's how I went there initially.
Okay.
And then in May, I guess almost a year ago, May 10 months ago, I rushed over because he wanted me to cover another key hearing in some Scientology case. And then it was very funny. And then pure coincidence, while I was at that hearing, there was the one for Streets LA. So I'm like, I guess I'll just show up and talk about what happened. And thank God, because of that, it was Jacob Harkey told me about it. And I'm like, oh, I guess I should go. And then that became the real niche, luckily,
I remember the life of Jacob when he met you and introduced you. That I remember. That's the first time I saw
Say that again.
That's the first time I saw you. On
who do you
YouTube.
say introduced me? I missed that.
It was Jacob that
Yes,
introduced
right. Yeah,
you.
Right. That makes
That's
sense.
when I saw you for the first time.
Right. Yeah, and he's been very supportive and helpful and done, a lot of streams with me and stuff. Yeah, he introduced me to a bigger audience too. So that was the interesting thing. You were kind of realizing it's not just Aaron anymore who are on your side and blasting you out, but it's a lot of helpful people like Jacob, Streets LA, DOA to some extent. And so yeah, it was nice to kind of metastasize in that regard.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to remember. I think you all really enjoyed, and I was talking about it with Scott yesterday, was it the second day of the encampment when the convoy
That's when literally I showed up the day before the convoy.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's when I first met
I remember I was jumping from YouTube channel to the other to see everyone's different perspective and where they were. And you were in your, is it a yellow car you had?
Yes, yellow Chevy Camaro. Yeah.
We knew straight away it was you. And how enjoyable was that? I mean, for us, it was enjoyable to watch. It was like, yeah, I wish I was there. But how was it for you guys being there?
It was so fun. And it was fun for me because I had a convertible. So even better. And it was just, you saw, like, you got to respect the guy. For all the criticism that DOA has gotten, I mean, he was on the ground organizing for most of it, like every single moment, handing out stuff, making sure people were in the right assigned places, making sure that the convoy was going by at the correct time for maximum effect. So, it wasn't just him, obviously. It was Aja, not rest in peace literally, but rest in peace in internet life as she went over the dark side and decided to fall in love with DDT. But she was working very hard. Tori was working very hard. And I just saw a lot of selfless people. Some people have issue with him, but Rip Guy did a great job, was a great chef, provided great food for us. So all these people, out of the goodness of their heart, even Becky, even though people hate Becky, I know you're only supposed to compliment one side and trash the other, but Becky was very effective in being on the ground and making sure people had what they needed, and all of those people, whatever side they were on, I on either side, I developed a lot of respect for them, and it was fun for me because it was like, oh, this is cool. I can just drive around. And then a thing that was probably missed is I was blasting out Diana Hubbard music. That's L. Ron Hubbard's daughter, and she actually dropped an album back in the 70s.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So I was like screaming, listen to Diana Hubbard. So I thought that was very fun, appropriate music. Although it was only piano. She only did like piano. But it was a lot of fun. I'm like, all right, this is it was interesting because I sort of came in at the tail end of the protest, right? The convoy was kind of post where you had these characters. I never had the honor of meeting Sebastian or Daisy or Twilla or any of those or Pennywise or any of those wonderful characters. So I lament that. Or Lurch. Lurch might be my favorite. You got to love Mr. Frankenstein, Lurch. So I didn't get to meet any of those people, which it still hurts my heart. I would have loved to, but now they're not now they're not out. There's no need. So in some sense, it's like mission accomplished in that regard.
Yeah, but it was good to see how first of all, it was fun.
Yes.
People were looking, they were interested. What is it all about? And that
Yes.
was the main goal, that people react and say, what's going on? Oh, and I mean, there were people coming, like Confident Chris, who had a pristine car. He was writing,
Yeah, he did a great job
"My
too. Yeah.
allergies are cold," and he wrote all over his beautiful car, and we all know how he loved his car, right?
Yes.
And he didn't care. He did it, and others did that as well. Leah and Danny, and it was all over the place, and it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I would have preferred to be probably sitting next to you in a convertible.
Chris is cool though. Chris did a great job. And he really decked out his car.
Yeah,
I felt a little left out. I felt bad because I was the only one who didn't deck out my car. My car had nothing. It had no banner or sign or anything. But I have a loud voice, so that was helpful, if nothing else.
oh, that's enough. I'm a small person, but I have a big mouth.
Nice.
People say I'm very loud. Who
Respect.
cares?
Nothing wrong with
At least
that.
if they don't see me, they can hear me, right?
Yeah. That's all that matters. All this protest is volume. So if you got the volume, then you're doing a good job.
And look, my mom is a small person too, and she's as loud as I am. So, or I am
Okay,
as
there you
loud
go.
as she is. So, it's in the family. Now, what did I want to say? Oh yeah. Now, moving on to the swattings, and for me, some of them were false arrests, etc.
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them actually, and I said that to Scott yesterday as well, that in most of the parts where police arrived, you saw all the time the same police officers' faces showing up, always. And
That
I'm
was the
like,
weird part. Yep. Good point.
do they always have the same? There are more than all just these guys around, And La Poubelle was another part where I watched a lot, because my mother tongue is French, so already a restaurant called La Poubelle
Français.
it must be disgusting, right? Because
Right.
how would you call a restaurant a
Trash
trash can? Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. And
Neither do I.
the thing that always bothered me is because people can't pronounce French names. And the owner of La Poubelle, they called her François Costa. And I'm like, no, there's an E at the end. She's called Françoise.
François. See, I've been
And
saying it
I've
wrong.
never been able to tell anyone.
Although what's funny, that the prosecutor, I was like, how uncultured can you be? The prosecutor in DOA's case is talking about some incident outside of La Poubelle. He's like, La Poubelle? Like, come on. Really? La Poubelle? Come on. Like, use your common sense, man. So at least it wasn't that bad.
No, I think that the La Poubelle, I think, I mean, at the beginning when they started, it was funny because everyone was Googling to figure out what it meant. And I thought, oh, you just have to ask me. But obviously they didn't know me.
Right.
And then, the owner, I mean, you have the same name, but you pronounce them differently if it's a male or a female. And
I
for
didn't know that.
female, it's
Sure.
Françoise,
Right.
because there's a E at the end.
So,
If there's no E,
masculine would be just Francois.
François.
François.
You don't even pronounce the S at the end, you see.
Okay. I took French for 5 years, but I know much more Spanish than I know French, unfortunately. But I did take it in school, so a little bit I know.
I speak better Italian, and I'm not very good at Spanish, so.
Okay, there you go. Sorry.
I know a few things. I can order a beer, so una cerveza, por favor. And mi corazón te quiero, and that's about it.
Not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah,
it would take me. You know a lot more language than me. You know English very well. It's not even your native tongue. So.
No. Well, I have to tell you that my parents emigrated to Australia in the early 60s.
Oh, how interesting.
And they met in Australia, both French speaking.
Wow, that must
My
have been
mom
fish out of
Swiss,
water.
and my dad Belgian, and they met in Australia. So
Wow.
my dad loved the English language so much that when they came back to Europe, we constantly had people turning up at our door, people from Australia traveling around Europe. Do you have a bed for us? We had people sleeping on the floor in the kitchen, and
Hilarious. How do you meet them?
people that knew people from
Funny.
friends of my parents, and
Right.
they said, oh,
Always
if you
somebody.
go to Switzerland, go and see Simone and Michelle, and they will find a way to get you somewhere to sleep. And we had people on the sofa everywhere. We heard the English language from very small.
Very cool that the first time I've ever heard of anybody loving the English language, because usually it's a pretty ugly language compared to the Romance languages. So
I
that's
think
great to hear.
I think it's because, when my parents always explained that when they moved to Australia, the Australians are quite tough. And if you said something bad about Australia, they said, go back to your country. So they knew that if they were in open spaces, you speak English and no other language, because
Wow.
if
Huh.
an Australian doesn't understand you, they
Well,
wouldn't
not a lot of
accept.
diversity, not as much diversity there. You know,
Well, that
in
is
New
from
York,
the
we wouldn't get mad
60s.
if you started speaking Spanish, I'll tell you.
Well,
Nor in
that was
LA.
in the 60s, Dutch. I don't know. They probably changed by now.
Probably. Well, it's a lot more international now. Now with Australia, I'm sure Sydney and Melbourne are quite diverse with all the, Asian immigrants and everything. And there's probably many languages now being spoken.
I think what my dad always said, it was more like he always said that he didn't mind, because he felt like the Australians wanted to say, you came to us, you have to adapt to us and to
Right.
our country and our
Back then, sure.
culture. We shouldn't have to adapt to you. So my parents adapted. My mother said she learned to speak English watching television.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. It's very young then, right? I mean, I've been to Australia. I spent about 5 weeks there, and it's such a young country, just like the U.S. and Canada. They have so much in common, because it's like in the 1600s, it didn't exist really, or not with any real development or anything. And so they were probably, they probably had the old mother tongue, but now they're so cosmopolitan and diverse. It's just a very different Australia than it probably was in the early 60s. Because back then they're like, oh, we're the new kind of thing in town. We're starting to be successful economically and be a first world country, and take our place at the US and Canada and Great Britain and whatever. But it was very new back then. So it was odd for them, I'm sure, to hear other languages. But now,
I was happy they
land
immigrated
of
to
opportunity.
Australia, because I was born there. So
Yeah.
but that's about it. I was 18 months old when my parents
Plus, you're
moved
very
back
young.
to Europe,
Yeah.
so I can't remember it.
Okay.
But I really want to go before
it's great.
it's too late.
Beautiful it's come visit. It's great. It's a beautiful country. It's a lot like the USA. I feel like the three most similar countries in the world are Canada, USA, and Australia. Australia is just like it does not feel, well, it's not European obviously, but it's closer, but it doesn't feel European, it doesn't feel Asian, it feels very American. It's funny because we're all young kids in a lot of senses, the three of us, compared to Europe, anywhere else in Europe or anywhere else in Asia.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend seeing it. It's a
I want to go as soon as I can, but from Australia, from here, it takes quite a long time to
I
get
bet.
there.
I bet it's easier
Especially
probably for me from LA to get out there than
it
for you.
depends if you want to travel cheaply,
Right.
you might be traveling for 24 hours.
Right.
And I'm not in an age bracket now anymore to travel 24
I
hours.
can't do that.
And I'm quite claustrophobic. So, the longest I've been in an airplane was 12 to 13 hours. So,
okay. That was about the flight to Denmark that I took, which is brutal. That I'm going to really space out. I'm not going to make a habit of going over to doing that frequently. It was well worth it, well worth going. But yeah, no, I hear you.
Well, I hope if we can protest this year at the IIS in October.
I'll try to get to that. Yeah.
That would be great. I will try to go there too.
Cool. Okay.
But we probably, according to Alex, we still have to wait for the decision they made if we can go back protesting or not. So if we can, then I'll make sure to go there. I lived not far away from East Grinstead before I moved to Scotland. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I never knew Sand Hill existed.
Hilarious. That hidden.
No. So, and also, the English broadcaster and journalist Piers Morgan. He's quite famous in America too.
I know him, yeah.
He's from Sussex. He's from not far away from East Grinstead as well.
Oh, cool.
So I've been emailing him every day, try to get him to talk about Scientology and the
Good on you.
It's been 6 months now, and I never have a reply.
Yeah, no surprise. Yeah.
I'm sharing. No, he is sharing his birthday with me. He's a year older than me.
Oh,
he
funny.
turned 60 today, and apparently Eric Clapton turned 80 today.
Oh, okay, cool. I heard the Eric Clapton. I didn't know that.
I didn't even know he was 80.
That kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mid-60s. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, perhaps. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah. So, where was I? Sorry, you see, I talk too much. That's
no, you don't. You're fine.
What was? We went for Australia to Piers Morgan. I'm so
Oh,
bad.
yeah. Well, I was going to say one thing about that, too. I admire all the people who do the letter writing campaigns, but it's like one of the reasons I don't do it is because nobody ever responds to you. It's like you may as well submit an email to the government of Earth where they have to deal with 6 billion people and they're guaranteed not to get back to you. So it's like you're caught between. Sorry, what's you're caught between a rock and a hard place in that regard, because it's like, what can you really do? Because blindly writing emails to people, they're not going to respond. It's guaranteed. They're not going to respond. They just, I don't think there's been one moment in the history of the world where, any journalist of any pedigree or any government entity says, oh, I found this one little email. Let me take a ton of action. Well, it's happened once in a while, but very rarely. Sometimes you get to the local division and that gets a response. But part of it is disheartening, because it's like the big argument is, well, the protesters haven't taken Scientology down. Well, we can't. The only thing that can be taken Scientology down are very specific lawsuits and prosecutions. And likely somebody has to directly prosecute Miscavige. And the fact that he hasn't been prosecuted means he's being protected. So in some sense, it's like, what can you do? The writing letters is helpful because in that sense, you can't do anything else. And you can protest. But it's so funny that people say, well, it hasn't been taken down yet. It's diminishing. It might not ever be taken down because they seem to be protected. And Lord knows, whether you love him or hate him, Trump's attorney general is the closest friend that Scientology has ever had. So, keep dreaming. I hate to say it, but keep dreaming. It's going to be there in 10 years.
Yes, I think, when people say, oh, we should say no more people in Scientology, I think we should start with no more kids in Scientology. And if there are people out there, and I think I'm paraphrasing what Alex says, apostate Alex says, is that, look, everyone is entitled to believe in whatever they want to believe. And if they want to spend that much money on stupid courses that don't do anything, even if they think it does something for them, then so be it. But the abuse of children and the elderly and the human trafficking, that has to stop. And my personal opinion, I think, is if we can get in America the tax exemption removed,
yes,
and they have to start to pay their taxes.
It won't happen under Trump. 1,000% will not. I mean, Trump has been, with the Epstein files, Jeffrey Epstein, such a cop-out. And in my theory, Trump is protecting Jeffrey Epstein as Biden protected Epstein, as Bill Clinton had associate all of these Democrat, Republican.
All their names are on the list. They were all in his plane and on his island.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If Trump is protecting Jeffrey Epstein or his ghost, Why would he ever do anything against Scientology? He's careless. And Pam Bondi, all she'll say, the Attorney General of the USA, who was in Florida and had a fundraiser hosted by Scientology for her, all she'll say is nope. So anybody who thinks that Trump is going to ride on this golden horse and eliminate the deep state, he's not touching any deep state anything. And that's the most discouraging part is none of these politicians can do something, but none of them will. And there's, you can write the biggest deal is Jamie Raskin, who's a congressman, mentioned Scientology, but he never did anything. He mentioned it once as a comparison. He never said, well, now I'm going to hold a hearing and look at his stats. So we're screwed. Like, I'm very pessimistic about this. We're screwed. The government is not going to lift a finger ever. So the only thing that you could do is protest outside, which is important, and let the public know how evil this cult is. Because you can write, I admire the people writing the letters, but it's not, and it's good to show that. Like, I guess I'm going on a diatribe because people have been fundraising to get printers to write letters, and it's like you're fundraising to get printers to write letters that will never be responded to. But that's just me being like cantankerous. I do appreciate that people do it, but I guess they should just know it won't. It's good to show that there is a cadre of people who are trying to bring the attention to the people who need to see it, but it just won't. Nothing will happen with it.
The thing is, you have to understand is that, for example, if you look at different countries in Europe, in Switzerland, they are not classed as a religion.
Right.
In France, the same.
Yes.
In Belgium as well. But the thing is, here in Europe, apart from, fair enough, Miriam is not a former Scientologist, but she does a lot in Denmark, and you've seen it as yourself. Here in the UK, we have Alex, who does a lot. And I'm trying to get more former Scientologists to be interviewed and tell their stories.
Awesome. See, that helped. That's what brings them down eventually, is you interview people and they talk about the horrifying experiences, and one new person listens and thinks, oh my God, I know they were crazy. I didn't know they were evil. And that's, a lot of people say that. They're like, oh yeah, there's some silly harmless cult. And they're like, oh wait, no, they're actually child labor trafficking, human trafficking. It's a lot deeper than being a silly Xenu. Like, the Xenu thing is almost inconsequential compared to the evil that they're doing. I always think, like, shift away from Xenu. We all know about Xenu. Like, and I admire that. I admire Lara and Serge and a lot of people who, and Alex, apostate Alex, who are saying, no, let's focus on the actual kids. And that's important. Yeah. Awareness.
Yeah,
it's important.
For me, it's important. I mean, my first interviews I did was all the former Scientologists in Europe that I knew that are on YouTube, like Samuel, the SP chef, Bala.
He's a big fan, yeah.
I had them both together. Oh, I love Samuel. I had Bianca from Stockholm. You met her too when you were there.
She's cool.
I interviewed
Powerful story.
Alex. I interviewed Ludovic from France. But the thing is that I came across of lots of books from former French Scientologists and Belgian that have written books, but under a different name, because they don't want to disconnect from their families. They're still extremely scared here in Europe to speak out.
Yeah.
And
fear is a horrible emotion.
American former Scientologists to speak up and help us to get Europe up to par, because in the UK here they're not tax exempt, even though they tried in other countries as well. And also with Europe, what is difficult is we can't just go and protest. You've seen that in
the rules are more stringent, which seems weird, because I thought Europe would be even a little more progressive, but
No, for example, you've seen it when you went to Copenhagen. Miriam had to have a permit from the municipalities. You turn up and there's a big truck there. A coincidence, the police said?
No, far from it.
Switzerland, they're very tough in Switzerland. So that's why, for example, FASA, it's the Free Anti-Scientology activist, and Yolanda and Beat created this group 6 years ago, and they can't have a YouTube channel. They can't go live on YouTube if they protest. Wherever in each
Wow.
canton,
I
a
didn't know that.
canton is like a state. You have different laws for protest. You have to
Right.
have, like for example, last year there was the 50th anniversary in Zurich.
Okay.
So they had to have a permit. They were
Wow.
allowed to be outside the building, but when they were filming, so they could only film videos, no go live.
Weird.
And they weren't allowed to film the building or the
Why?
entrance of the building. So just a little bit.
They
They're very
can't film a building?
just a part, not the
Bizarre.
entrance. And also, if you would film and people would be in your videos, you have to pixel their faces out. And she said,
Wow.
we don't have
Jeez.
time for that. We have
No.
jobs as well, you know.
No point.
So Switzerland is very tough on that.
That's horrible. Yeah.
It's different in every country in Europe, you see.
That
So you
sounds
have to be
democratic.
careful. And that's why as well, Alex here in the UK had made sure last year that everything that is being made follow what the police says, being respectful,
Sure.
and they did it all. But Scientology didn't like it at all. So
No, I don't think so.
I think if we all can go to the today, this year, would be great, you know. Yeah,
Do my best. Yeah. October's so far away. I have no idea what I'll be doing in October, but hopefully. Sounds fun. And Alex, it'd be great to meet Alex. Big fan of his. He's been doing great work.
he's doing great work. He's been harassed from Scientology in the last few months.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
He's been he's made the front page of
Yes. Daily
Guardian.
Mail. Guardian. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a great example. I mean, I'm envious of Alex. I don't know why there's this, maybe we're just not as effective as him. He keeps getting really big mainstream media to pay attention to this. And we cannot get anyone in mainstream media to give any flying crap. I mean, I got fired when I tried, you know,
Yeah.
and it's weird. It's like, maybe Alex just has the connections and he's better at that than any of us. But it almost hurts my heart that the LA Times maybe mentioned the protest once and was pretty condescending and flippant and obnoxious about it.
Yeah.
And it's been, you know, it's like there's never been any outside media. That's why I go to all these cases, because it's like there should be the LA Times coming to these restraining order hearings. It's big news. If Scientology is paying somebody off as a goon, that's an interesting article. They should be going. You know, any of them should be going, but they don't. So I was like, well, I guess I'll have to do it. I might not be as, I probably am as good at this point. They're also corrupt and scared. Fear is a big thing. They don't want to scare anybody. And that was the worst about working for mainstream news, is you're in fear of the repercussions all the time. But it is Alex has done a wondrous job doing that, and we cannot, on this side of the pond, we cannot seem to ever do that, and it sucks. And that would be, you know, even though mainstream media is dying, it adds a stamp of credibility, so it'd be helpful. And it's to me, that's my biggest lamentation about all of this, is there would be some progress if we could get this on the front page or even on a small segment somewhere, but they won't touch us. Not LA Times, not other local, not Pasadena, whatever. They won't touch us with a 10-foot pole. And we're swimming upstream.
I think you need to find a newspaper that has collones. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
That's another word I know in Spanish. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that
You're
it's
right.
the fear, actually, because people all think that Scientology is like a mafia. So we need to make sure, you know, that's as well what I want to do, is that former Scientologists in Europe stopped being scared and realized there's a
Yeah.
community out here that are behind them, and we're gonna
Yeah.
help them, you know.
Welcome with open arms.
Yeah, exactly. And we need to get the people that, you know, to not to be afraid anymore, to take it away from them. And I think when big companies or big newspapers are afraid to publish stories like that, then then we still have a big road ahead
Yeah.
until they do something, you know.
Well put.
We're going to have to wait and see the journalist who interviewed Alex for The Guardian.
That's
If
cool.
she's going to have some repercussions.
Hopefully
about
not.
it. I don't know.
And
Hopefully.
the Guardian, to the Guardian's credit, has been pretty good about talking about a lot of this stuff, unlike other sources. So hopefully that guy is in good company with his bosses. I'd imagine he is, because I've seen a number of articles from the Guardian. They're a very legitimate, well-read site too. So hopefully it'll be all right. If he doesn't, that'll be fascinating. That would be worth going to England for. There's ever trial on that. Tries to sue Scientology.
And people say, "Oh, I'm not going to England. The food is disgusting." No, it's not true. It's beautiful.
Well, I love bangers and mash. Bangers and mash and shepherd's pie and fish and chips, cod.
Toad in the hole.
What's up?
A toad in the hole.
That's a new one. Is that the egg thing?
No, that's made with Yorkshire pudding.
I love Yorkshire pudding. Okay.
And it's toad in the hole is actually sausages, and it's like a big Yorkshire pudding with sausages. I love it.
That's great.
Anything Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah. It's very good. And not only that, but you go to England, if you're in London, like you're gonna get like great Asian food, African food. Like it's like I always think the city is not just its region, it's where their immigrant community's from. And so like probably the best Indian food outside of India, I would bet. Canada has great Indian food too, but I bet it's like the best in the UK because of the population. You want to get Jamaican jerk chicken, good, big Caribbean population in London. So you don't only have to eat English food. There's a lot of immigrant food that's pretty good.
I have to say, I went to London for the first time when I was 20 to go to school and learn better English than what I learned in Switzerland. And that's when I ate for the first time Chinese food.
Right. That makes sense. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
And now I love Chinese food, but I have a problem with spicy food. So Thai food and things are too aromatic. I'm a bit,
Sorry to hear that.
I have, for example, aromatic teas. I can't drink that. Black tea, that's fine, but any kind of... I'm a bit a guy when it comes to things. I'm not
trying a lot of sweet stuff and not spicy, so
yeah.
Maybe I'll be out there.
I love Mexican food, and I can go actually quite spicy with Mexican food, which I find it very strange. When then with other foods, as soon as I see the word chili, and no, thank you, I'm not eating it.
Mexican food is very spicy. That you cannot get very good Mexican food, I don't think, anywhere in Europe. That's where North America dominates.
There's a fantastic restaurant in London and the same one in Paris. It's called Pacifico.
It's high-end.
Best Mexican food I ever had in Europe.
All right, cool. Well, I guess there's a few. But I like the down-home, hole-in-the-wall places. And that you probably couldn't find that much. A truck doing amazing, authentic soft shell taco. Yeah. But I don't even like Mexican food. It's funny. I've been to 27 states in Mexico, so I love the country. I actually don't like the food that much. I like it, but it's not like in my top 4.
Look, I've only been to Cozumel, and I was coming off a ship, a cruise ship for one day. So I didn't see.
Probably
and
a good
eat
coconut shrimp. Camarones al coco, coconut shrimp. They do very good in Cozumel.
Ooh. Well, everything was free on the ship because so we didn't eat.
What would be the point?
That's. But hey, but it was nice. It was nice. Sorry.
You're good.
I was just gonna say, let's just quickly, I'll just quickly go through.
Sure.
I have no one on the backstage to start my Miriam says this. Hi, and catching up to him, it's bedtime for her. She has an hour later than me because here in the
Okay.
UK we're an hour before Europe. Oops, wait a second, my mouse. Okay.
Somebody asked a question for Dodge, a troll question, but a good one. How many years do you think DOA will stay in prison? And just to answer that, I don't think he's going to get any prison time. I'd be shocked. It looks like he's going to go to trial. I'd be shocked if I think he's going to win it. So I'd be shocked if he got a day. I think even if he was found guilty, he might, maybe they'll sentence him for a week. So maybe maximum a week, but they're going to compound and minimize. The judge is going to minimize the sentence no matter what, even if he's guilty. I don't think it'll be for, for 10 years at all. Not at all. But I think he's going to win it. So 0.
I totally agree with you. I
Yeah.
agree.
And somebody said Jerry's a troll. Yeah, but I wanted to disprove it, explain in real time why Jerry's wrong.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I've seen it. That I started, but I'll go first with Jojo. Dodge, will you be coming over to the UK in October? Well, I think
don't
you
know.
answered that.
I'll try. It's very expensive to do all that, but maybe 50-50, I would say. But keep commenting and encouraging me, and maybe I will.
Oh, we will. Because
Cool.
Jojo is here in Scotland too. So
Okay.
If we can go, we're probably gonna travel together.
Great.
What I wanted to say, my niece in Switzerland, she's expert business travel agent.
Oh, cool.
So perhaps she can then find you some ways.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to connect with her.
And
Thank you.
find
Absolutely.
deals for you. So
Okay. Cool.
I don't know how it works from Switzerland, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. No, I'd like to go. I mean, I don't know what will be happening in October. I just have no idea. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to. I'll try my best.
I always
Absolutely.
shop for the cheapest, so
Yeah.
I'll find a way.
I'm hoping I'm going to be back on the East Coast perhaps in October. It may or may not. If I'm back on the East Coast, I'll definitely go. If I'm on the West Coast, it's a lot harder to get to. East Coast is a lot easier. So hopefully I'll be back on the East Coast, then I'll go.
Well, for example, Virgin has quite good prices going to.
I didn't even know they still existed. Cool.
Oh, Virgin Atlantic, yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, nice. I thought they went bust.
And comfortable planes.
I flew there a long time ago. They're very good. Yeah. The plane to Copenhagen is horrible. It's tiny, and I got a middle seat both times.
Which company were you flying with?
Scandinavia Air. They're
say
awful.
That again. You.
Scandinavia Air was the airline.
Oh, Scandinavia Air. Oh, I never flew with them, so I don't know.
Don't.
Were you like that in your seat?
Yes. No space. It was like I was flying like a Spirit airline seat.
Oh my.
Which is like the budget airline in the US. It was that small. It was I don't know how I went through that flight, and I can't sleep on flights, so I didn't sleep a single hour or anything. And the Wi-Fi didn't work.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, and the Wi-Fi didn't work, and they wouldn't even give me the money back for the Wi-Fi. They were very hostile. They're the whole team, the whole like stewardesses, everybody's hostile for some reason. Not very Scandinavia. Usually they're nicer. And they like almost yelled at me when I was like, "Can I get my money back?" Because my internet didn't work. And they're like, "It's your problem. It's your phone. Shouldn't ask us that." I'm like, "No, I think your internet's not working. I tried with my computer too." "Well, your computer and your phone are having problems." So it's just really hatred for Scandinavia Air. I'll never fly them ever again. It's probably the worst airline I've ever encountered. So hopefully, Virgin sounds a lot. Virgin, I remember flying a long time ago and quite liked it. So,
well,
no offense to them.
The first 2 times I went to Vegas, it was for work.
Okay.
We had the
Vegas sucks. There's no way, but
we had.
I can tell you, my dog hates Vegas more than anything. Because there's no nature, there's no trees, it's just desert. Why don't we put a city in the middle of nowhere? So we have to force people to stay in casinos because they can't go for a hike because there's literally nothing except if you drive an hour to a dam. But you can't swim in the dam. There's no trees along the dam. There's no grass along the dam. And it's going to be hot all the time. And therefore, we could just charge, all this insane amount of money, keep everybody trapped, and they could gamble their life away. Oh, great. Welcome to Vegas. I had fun. I had fun with Danny. I went out for Danny, who was a protester, went out for his wedding. But my dog hates that. I think that my dog hates that city more than any other city is Vegas.
Well, when you think about being a dog, I think I might actually hate it too.
Yeah.
But the second time I went to Vegas for work, it was beginning of December, and it was snowing. I mean, I've never seen snow on palm trees, and the guys were outside throwing snowballs. I'm like, oh, come on, guys.
There wasn't any that used it, right.
We've never seen snow here in Vegas.
No, I'm shocked there was any. That's cool that you saw. That's like a historic thing to see. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, they closed the airport because they didn't know what to do because the airplane's wings were frozen over. That's
probably like this much snow. Yeah.
Common in Europe, we know what they.
No,
they
nor in New York. In New York, New York, we're well used to our snow. We can drive in it. We can handle it.
In Vegas, they had to close the airport. They didn't know what to do. They hadn't seen snow in decades.
Wow.
It happened in the past, apparently, but
Yeah.
So I felt quite important. I've seen Vegas under the snow.
That's kind of historic. Yeah, that probably happens once every 40 years or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So and as well, I mean, snow on palm trees. That's
cool. I've never seen that. Not one.
No.
Seems oxymoronic.
Somewhere. I need to figure out where they are, but it was quite impressive. We're at the 1 hour mark. How long do you have time?
Probably about like 10 minutes, give or take.
Okay. So Amy, lovely Amy. I don't remember where this came. Is the mafia?
It's funny. The mafia, remember, I coined the term La Osa Nostra instead of La Costa Nostra.
La Cosa Nostra. Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah, sounds like that.
Yeah, funny.
I have to say, Cosa Nostra is not much tougher.
No.
I've been watching a lot with this mafia.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're diminished.
New York is, and John Gotti was one of the biggest ones.
He was big. He was probably the last mafia guy of any significance, really. Because there are no famous mafia figures anymore, current ones.
No, but I follow a former mafia guy called Michael Francese.
Oh, yeah, I know him. He works with a company that I works with. Yeah, he's interesting, yeah.
He's very interesting.
Yeah.
His dad was a part of I can't remember which family. There are so many, I can't remember them all.
Capito, I can't, yeah.
That was the question you saw, right?
Yeah, I answered it. Just proved it.
Exactly. We think Jerry, he will not go to prison.
No, I don't think he'll do prison time. No. He might do, a week or 2 weeks of jail time, I think, maximum. But no prison.
No, I don't. I agree with you. So let me see.
Way too minor. It's minor stuff. Didn't steal anything. Didn't stab anybody. I don't think we'll get any prison.
Okay.
I think we'll be all right.
This is Yolanda I was telling you about from Faza in Switzerland. The media landscape has made Scientology socially
good way to put it.
Doing nothing.
Right, let them mind their own business, but at the end of the day, they're revoking people's rights. So they shouldn't have their own business minded.
Yeah, but
salient comments.
Well, we told them to put comment or question at the beginning, so
I'm looking at some of the chat. You want me to address anything?
Go on. You allowed?
No. I'm just saying I'm looking at the chat. If you want me to bring up any of if you're missing something and you want me to bring up some comments,
Go for it. I don't mind. It's just I think I need new glasses. It's bothering
That's all
me.
right. Well, Margaret, thank you. She says I'm a true professional. Who knows? But I try to be. It's very kind.
I do agree. I mean, that is before you're gonna go. What was so interesting for me to know you and watching you is when you started going to the trials from Streets,
Thank you.
DOA,
Yeah. That's fun.
Danny. There was Danny as well, yeah, etc., etc., etc. And
All
you
the New York Dark Tony,
oh yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I think he's the biggest problem at the moment, but I
Yeah.
think he will at the end of the day he will be paying. He just lives in another world and think he's gonna get away with it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We just have to be patient, but
Yeah.
you know, justice will be served.
I think so.
Yeah,
I agree.
because what he's done or said is just not all right
No,
for a grown-up man.
Horrific. Yeah.
You know, but I have to say how you reporting on what happened, because they're not televised
Yeah. The only one.
hearings, so obviously we don't know what's happening. So for
Yeah.
me personally, I thought it was great because I didn't know. I have a playlist created for myself, Dutch court hearings, so I saved them there. So
Very nice.
if
Thank
I
you.
couldn't
I'm honored.
watch it straight away. I was going back and I'm like, okay, so Streets and DOA's hearing, what happened then? And, you know, so I knew where to
Right.
find it.
Oh, cool.
You know,
Well, thank you for watching. It means a lot to me. I appreciate that. It's nice to know I'm not just talking to myself.
no.
I
I mean,
appreciate your
you
work.
have always quite a lot of people watching, and they are
Thank you.
interested what's happening in those hearings. And yeah, we want these people to win against
Yeah.
Scientology, you know, even though if it's not always directly Scientology, you know, like the what were we calling him, the scooter man? That was the one with Danny, and then you know,
Yeah, Bill Catholic, yeah.
and, you know, it's nice to have someone that goes there and actually tells us what happens. And
Yeah. Thank you. And you know, I have some experience in TV news. You know, a lot of what we had to do is we'd have to sit in court all day and wait for the one person we were interested in for their proceeding to come up. So I felt like, not that I'm a lawyer or I've been to law school or anything like that. Lord knows I make mistakes, but at least I had a foundation of knowledge to understand the motions. As you were saying earlier, I appreciate that. Like, at least I had the basis of knowledge to interpret those, and nobody else really would or could, you know, in specific terms with those trials. So it's nice. It's nice to be useful. I always say you could feel comfortable with yourself and your life if you feel like you're doing something useful for people. And I feel like I'm useful. So, you know, whether I'm a journalist, whether I'm not, whether the best, whether I mess up, yada, yada, yada. And that's all that matters is some people are, you know, giving information that people need. And I'm useful in that regard. So
well,
the rest
you are
is
the
just,
ears and you
theoretical.
are our eyes and ears.
Thank you.
For
Thank
these
you.
trials
Sure,
when you
exactly.
can go.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
until they decide to televise it, which, you know, probably those trials are not interesting or important enough to be televised, to watch them online. I
Gotta be
wish
me. They'll have to be your television. Yeah.
I mean, like the big trials I watch sometimes. Yeah. So,
Well, you know, O.J. Simpson really ruined it for everybody, at least in the U.S., because he used to be able to film everything and see every moment of the trial. And then O.J. Simpson was such a circus that, you know, occasionally you can still film, but very rarely, almost unilaterally in the U.S., you can't film them.
oh, I don't agree with that, because
Neither do I.
I watched the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial a few years ago.
Yeah. So again, sometimes you can they have it, but I would say rarely.
Oh, there are quite a lot. I mean, if you check out Law and Crime Network on YouTube, they're following quite a lot of trials at the
But for example,
moment.
like all the hearings with Luigi Mangione, they're not televised. Menendez
No, they
brothers.
are not.
wasn't. So the bunch of that's a good point. There are a bunch that are, there are a bunch that aren't though. But
Yeah.
I guess it's luck of the draw, I suppose. Because
Yeah, but
usually, I mean, I guess it depends if they give you. Usually, you get rejected permission, but sometimes you can get permission to actually go to the hearings and stuff and do all that. Yeah.
well, lots of, for example, most attorneys I follow on YouTube, they all say they all for how you say that, trials to be televised, because
Yeah.
they want people to see how it works, how the law
Right.
works, and how
No, it's educational.
proceedings are. Yeah, because some people think they're above the law.
Right.
I
Right. Right.
didn't even know in America you had sovereign people thinking that the law doesn't exist for them. And I'm like, what is going on?
Sovereign citizen. Yeah.
Citizen, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but some of those
Doesn't
trials,
work.
they don't win their cases. The judges are quite tough.
That's right.
But it's interesting because here in the UK, you don't have a lot of trials that are televised, so we are not used
Right.
to it. So
Okay.
I do.
Not at all. Right. Interesting.
Well, yeah, that trial I told you about early on in Massachusetts is starting next week. I want to follow up with the Menendez brothers. I'm fascinated by that story.
Yeah. So the
Um,
DA put I was going to try to go to some of it, but the DA put the kibosh and says, no, they shouldn't be retried or nothing. So the new district attorney, who's much more conservative.
I've seen Dr. Phil interviewed him not long
Okay.
ago.
Oh, interesting. I should check that out.
Yeah. Dr. Phil podcast, it's called now, because he's not on a television network anymore. He has his own stuff now.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, I've seen that new DA, and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, another one who, but who knows? We have to wait and see. There are quite a few things that are interesting going on at the moment.
Yeah, quite a bit. I want to try to branch out and do other stuff. Although, for high-profile trials, even being allowed to be in there is a labyrinthian process, and they have to give you. And I'm not connected to any legal media, so I can't get a press pass. So usually you can walk in if it's low profile, but if it's not, I'm gonna have to try to figure all that out. But I will.
Well, when the Johnny Depp trial was on, and it was in Virginia and not in LA, the trial,
Right.
they were camping outside the courthouse,
Yes.
and they
Right.
didn't need it to have a journalist pass at all.
Well,
Or
no,
they
because it's
even could say,
televised.
I'm
You've seen it.
independent journalist, and they got in, but the amount of seats were limited.
Yes. So there you go. Exactly. Right. So Johnny Depp is this whole cadre. I mean, I'm the one person that feels kind of bad for Amber Heard in that whole situation, because it was just kind of like one sentence that she said, and then Johnny Depp took the ball and ran with it, and it was clear there was abuse on both. I think I'm the only one who's not on Johnny Depp's side with this, but yes, it was an interesting case, to say the least.
Look, the thing is, I've been in the position of being abused, and I don't deny it. I've always been a huge fan of Johnny Depp, but when I heard about it, I said, okay, I'm gonna watch the trial, and then I'll decide. If he is guilty, then he needs to pay. Simples, right? Johnny Depp or not Johnny Depp. And she said so much, excuse my language, Dutchman. She told so much crap. And I'm like,
Well, I can curse,
are you
yeah.
bloody kidding me? Are you seriously saying you represent every abused woman? Because you're
Right.
not representing me.
No,
He
it
never
wasn't.
tried to kill her. My ex-husband tried to kill me.
But then my whole theory is that this came out of thin air because Depp sued her. Remember, Depp is trying to take money from her. He wasn't on criminal trial or anything. He, on his own volition, sued her over one sentence that she printed. So I think the whole thing, and then you look at the analysis, and I agree with you. It was, it sounds like there was mutual abuse on both sides. It sounds like Depp was abusing her, she was abusing Depp. So I don't know. I think I'm the only one that's not. He started it. He started it over something that has a basis of truth. So to me, it wasn't defamation, really. But I'm literally the only person to think that.
Perhaps, look, I seen it in a different way, and not because it was him, but um, it's like that trial I followed last year, and it was a mistrial, and it's starting again next week,
Okay.
where it's so much in your face that everyone has been so corrupt that, I mean, you want to scream at the television and say,
Yeah.
for goodness sake, why can't they see? And then the judge comes across as biased, and oh my God. And now they chose a special prosecutor. So it's not even someone from the DA. It's actually a criminal, a defense attorney they chose. Why? They have about 80
Very
DAs
random.
there. You
Yeah.
know, it's very strange, but it makes it interesting, though.
It does. There's a lot to look out for, definitely. So I'm hoping I can branch out.
I would love to talk to you again. Let's
That'd be
say
great.
with more about the upcoming other trials, if you
Yeah.
go there, etc.
Sure. Let me know
And
whenever. I'll be around.
I would love to
That'd be
do
fun.
that with you. That would be great.
It's
Yes.
been a delight talking with you. So it'd be my privilege to go back whenever you want. Just shoot me an email and we'll set something up. And I appreciate all you're doing.
Email
It's
me
great
and
to know
tell me
these.
something. I'll be here. I don't move. Well, I move to go to work, but I'm
You're here on the internet, so that's
voila.
right. But thank you. No, and what you're doing is super important, just to get to know all these different people. And you did a good one with Alex, Aponte Alex, I believe, as well. And it's important, So keep up in the good work in that regard. And you ask great questions and are a very good interviewer. So if there's any
Thank
negative
you.
comment, don't think twice about it. You're an excellent interviewer.
No, it
no.
wasn't negative. That
No,
email I received.
know.
It was called the constructive criticism.
But I
which
don't think that was
took on.
false. That was false construction. It wasn't really constructive because you don't talk over people, and that's not true. So I would just say disregard it entirely. But you take in what you'd like to take in and not what you'd like to. But I don't think you need, in my opinion, you need not change a thing. But you do
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank
Yeah.
you. But I will try to keep my interviews shorter than
That's
the
all right.
one I did last night.
3 hours, yeah, an hour and 20, no problem. 3 hours, that's different. But this is a good length.
It took me hours to calm down, and I didn't fall asleep until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Ouch, yeah. See, that's the thing. It kind of throws out your whole day.
So
an hour and a half, not so
yeah.
much. But 3 hours, 3:30, yeah. How long was yours with DOA? It's like 3:30? 3 hours.
About 3 hours, yes.
Hardcore.
And then he was actually falling asleep. He did tomato soup because in the chat they were talking about soups and what kind of cheese you would put in the soup. And then he said, "Oh, so he was making tomato soup while we were talking.
Buddy, okay.
And then after he ate his soup, he was, and I wasn't sure if he froze.
Oh.
And I said, "Are you frozen or are you asleep?" He said, "Yeah, I'm starting to fall asleep." And then I did another half hour.
But he's nodding off. Yeah.
So,
funny.
Yeah. Thank you so much, George. I really enjoyed that. And
thank you.
Would be nice to collaborate on the trials because I'm interested in you guys' laws and things like that.
Well, thank you. And you're a good source of all this info, and really privileged that you were interested in my work, and it means a lot to me. So thank you for that.
Well, I'm very interested.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for the kind words. And yeah, I'll be on deck. It's really fun to speak with you. So I'll be on deck whenever you'd like me to be.
No, it was great talking to you too.
Likewise.
And I hope I see you soon. And
we will.
Et voila.
Et voila.
Et voila.
Enchanté.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Oh, that was great, wasn't it, guys? Yeah. I apologize. I want to say something. Thank you, Jojo. You're doing a great job. Irish, you too. I know some people have come to the chat, and I appreciate to join today. But if you've never been in my lives, my chats are always nice, loving, we respect other people's opinion because everyone is entitled to their own opinions. We do not talk about other streamers, and if so, nicely. So please don't, because that's not my house works here. So please, thank you very much to consider this. Thank you very much. So because I'm on Streamyard, I can't see who is here, but no, I mean, I can see, but I can't see everyone. That's funny. The only thing I like about Amber is that Musk left her apartment with a black eye. I don't remember that. But if it's true, yes, I agree. Nancy, I don't know what upset you, but yeah. Adrian, hi Adrian, thank you for being back. Deborah smoking a joint with a police escort, waving to all his fans every day, going to court. The Cures Boys Don't Cry was blasting from the car. Cool entrance. I never noticed he was smoking a joint, but hey, why not? Rocks in a Box. Oh, hi, Rocks in the Box. I know who you are. You're Jojo's friend from Nora's channel, right? I know what trial she's talking about, I believe. I don't know which one you mean. Yes, Amy, yes, I know I talk a lot about it, but I'm so fascinated by this case. It's unbelievable. I mean, if anyone is interested in that case and you want to have, there's a channel called Microdots at my, let me just check. Yeah, Microdots. He does amazing videos, and if you watch his videos from beginning of April last year, no, mid-April, when the trial started, then you can have an idea what the story is behind Karen Reed. Give me a second. I just moved my mouse and everything moved with it as well. Here we are. Are you talking about me, Amy? Thank you. I try my best. Thank you, Adrian. And again, thank you for Jojo as well. Always here for me. Thank you. And thank you for Irish as well. She's always here too. I couldn't do it without them. Everyone is saying thank you. Yes, Works in the Box says, yes, that's me. And Joe says, that's my Rocks. Seeing the Pacific Ocean while in Vic, Australia is a beautiful thing. Like I said, I need to go to Australia in the next few years. I was born there, and I was too young to remember that time, so I really need to go. It's still here, that hair that is bothering me every time. Anyway, bothering me. I know it shouldn't. Oh, hi, let's go. Hi, Carla. Thank you for joining. I promise you, I watched a little bit of your live early on, but I wasn't in the chat. I ended up having a few phone calls from families from around Europe, so I was watching with one eye, but I couldn't hear what you guys were saying because I was on the phone. So I apologize, but I'll definitely be on the next one. Thank you. Style Audit 1A, thank you for being here. Yeah, if you do replay crew, you will see. Yeah, I think it was a great interview. I really like Dodge. He's a very interesting person. Yeah. Oh, Hippie Chick 69. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Hippie Chick, it was great interviewing him. And I'm proud of myself to have kept the timing that I set. And also, it was great that Dodge said, look, I can't do 3 hours like you did with Scott yesterday. And I said, I can't do it either. So that's good. Thank you, Yolanda. Oh, Stal, you did an interview with Dodge. Oh, I'm going to have to go and watch this as well. That's good to know. I am sorry. I very often miss stuff because yeah, when you work, you miss stuff. So yeah, he's really lovely. So well, I hope we'll be able to protest in October down in East Grinstead. So if we can, we'll have to make sure he comes over here too. That would be great, right? Yeah. So now I can't say it's a secret anymore because someone dropped the beans yesterday. So I don't know when it's going to be. It's either going to be during the week or next weekend. I don't know yet. You're going to have to wait and see. But I will have another interview with MD Media, our lovely Matt from Los Angeles. Well, who walks around LA for us. So I'm looking forward to that too. That will be great to talk to him. So look out for it. Oh, Haggis Basha, now I've seen your name. Thanks for the link about Stephen Fry and that documentary. I will go and watch it. What time is it here? 10:30. I don't know. I have to go to the doctor's tomorrow morning, so I'll probably watch it later on or tomorrow evening. We'll see. So yeah, thanks for that. That was I forgot about it actually until I saw the post. Yeah. So anyone has any question or anything like that? It's time now. It's time now to talk to me. Or to ask the questions. Otherwise, I think we all deserve an early evening for us here in the UK anyway. And Yolanda, who's in Switzerland, which is an hour ahead of us, so it's 11:30 p.m. In Switzerland. So I think we all deserve an early evening. I hope we didn't have any glitches today. I spoke with my internet provider, pardon me, and I didn't realize they told me that I had my router for 5 years. But I clean it, I look after it, so I didn't realize how long I had it. So they checked the telephone line and the broadband line, and they said they couldn't find anything. I said, yep, but I went on the internet and I checked the connection speed, and I don't have the speed I'm paying for. So they're gonna pay me back the speed that I'm missing. They're gonna check on that, and I'm getting a new router and an updated plan as well. So that's gonna happen in the next week or so. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have glitches like I was told yesterday, because I didn't notice, but I noticed Scott was glitching for me. So yeah, so I hope Bye, Jojo. Thank you very much. I can't wait to see your photos. Would love to see them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I'm so glad. I did actually restart my router about 15-20 minutes before Dutch joined me, before we went live, about 20 minutes beforehand. So just to be sure, I restarted the laptop and everything. So just to make sure. Yeah, you go, Jojo. I'll be going soon as well. So don't worry about it. Bridget, that excellent news about the router. You mean probably? Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting a new router. Apparently, every time I never called them to renew the plan. If it does it automatically, why should I bother? But they said I should actually not forget to every time the plan finishes to call, and then I get a better deal, cheaper. Because my broadband provider is Vodafone, which is the same as my mobile phone network. So the bills are all in one. So I never really noticed. And now I'm eligible for actually quite a cheap price. And what I like with the Vodafone broadband is that you don't need to pay for a telephone landline. There is one, you have a telephone number and you can use it if you want to, but I don't want to because I have a mobile phone with a full contract, so there's no need. Style A. Bridget, you are a talented and well-spoken interviewer, so it's a pleasure to see. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad. I always worry I interrupt too much, I speak too much. But for me, an interview is not only listening to the person you're interviewing, but I think you need to have a connection and talk to each other and express, perhaps if something happened in your life that is similar, you should actually tell the story and to get that connection with that person. So look, I do my best, and if you guys enjoy it, that's the main thing. I really appreciate that comment. Style Audit 1A, I'm going to call you Style with style, right? I appreciate your comment. Thank you very much. It makes me happy, to be honest with you. So 1.5 hours, I think that's good for everyone, right? Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Again, just quickly reminding you, I'm promoting today Fluffer Squirrel UK. She deserves a little bit of love as well, like I do. If you love art and you like to hear her Fluffer and Tilty Bird laugh and have fun, and at the same time talk about Scientology and their issues, etc., then go over there. They go live Wednesdays and Fridays, 5 p.m. UK time. So, sorry, you have to Google it, what time it is in your area in the world. Sorry for that. I don't know I know from today on, we have 8 hours difference again with LA. That's about 6 hours difference with New York. That's the only things I know. And Europe is 1 hour ahead of us. So I think that's enough for my little brain. Anyway, thank you so much. And for every they, them, yes, Joe, I know it's difficult for me, but they, them, Fluffer and Tilty Bird are they, them. It does grammatically, it doesn't sound correct to me, so I have difficulties, but I try my best and apologize if I offended them. Bye, Yolanda. Thank you, Adrian. Good night. Good night, Irish. Good night, Jojo. I think we didn't speak about that, but in one of his live, I think he wants to go and check out the elections, the Canadian elections, if I'm not mistaken. This was another fantasy. Matt, what are you talking about? Oh, fantastic. We're fantasy steam or stream? No, it's all right, Matt. It's all right. I'm just joking. By now, you should know I like to laugh. Well, next time we have him on, we'll ask him. Okay, Margaret, I will do that for you. Stream. Oh, hi, Sue Denim. Thank you for being here. Alex works his youngster's ass off. How old is Alex? How young is Alex? Under 30. He's 29. If you're talking about apostate Alex, I think he's 29. But I don't understand what you mean. He works his youngster's ass off. I don't understand that. But yeah, if you mean him, he's 29. Oh, poor Matt. Yeah, well, I'm gonna finish this. Nappy, you and your fantasy. Hippie chick. It's so lovely to see you all tonight. I really appreciated it. And we'll do a live soon again. And I will start creating videos more for Europe, French and German as well. And I will continue chasing some former American Scientologists to interview about their stories. So what did I want to say with that? Sorry, I got distracted by a comment. And hopefully someone will accept to join me. And but I will continue to do what I like best, and go to work as well, and take care of my Bonnie, my Baxter, and my Bria, which when you have 2 dogs and a cat, it takes a bit of work. So I don't know who Bill Maher slammed Tom Cruise and sent on this connection pro. It's making waves in the US. Okay, I don't know who that Bill Maher is. Apologize. Perhaps if I see his face, I might say, oh, I know him. On his show, influence in the US media. Centrist, not left, not right. Good. On his show. Does he have his show on YouTube? Okay, Margaret, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to finish this stream. It's nearly 11:15 in the evening here, and I need to get up early to go to the doctor's tomorrow, which is important for me. So yeah, I will check it out though. Thank you for the tip. It might be interesting to watch. Like I said, I don't know who this Bill is, so how do you wrote his surname? Maher. Yeah, oh, well, I'll check this out. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. And I wish you the rest of the day, afternoon, or evening. And I say, et voila, until next time. Good night. Bye bye. Thanks, Matt.
Et voilà, et voilà. It's time for a new video. It's time for a new life. Et voilà, et voilà. Et voilà, et voilà. It's time for a new video. It's time for a new life. Et voilà, et voilà. Et voilà, et voilà. Et voilà, et voilà, et voilà.